buddy, did you hear the news? It's track reviews.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is, and it is time for a track review. My thoughts, my opinions on a brand new song and single. It is now episode 4 of the Gorillaz ongoing multimedia song machine series. And if you have been following the reviews I've been doing of this stuff so far, you know that I think everything from this so far has been kind of fire. I have no reason not to believe this will also be good, though it does feature a UK rapper that's been making some waves as of late that I'm not the hugest fan of, but Octavian. It's always interesting to hear how Damon Albarn contextualizes and utilizes new voices and collaborators. So regardless of how you feel about Octavian's music up until this point, and even if you haven't heard his stuff up until this point, I would say open mind, open ears, open hearts, because the Song Machine series has been the best thing in a while. So let's just take what we can get, shall we? Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor in this video, the good people over at The Ridge. They make these awesome, nifty, fantastic, amazing metal-plated minimalist wallets that fit nicely in your front pocket. Please make sure to hit up the link down below and use promo code MELON to get yours for 10% off, or whatever else you would like off of their website, because they carry many more items as well. But these wallets are a game changer, in my view. All right, let's get into this track review, shall we? The track here is titled Friday the 13th, again featuring Octavian. Let's go. Okay, thoughts on that? Generally impressed with it. It is great. I found it enjoyable, but it is a grower. This is not going to pop out at you instantaneously, in my estimation. It may take you a few listens to really get into the vibe and the sound of this one, but I do think it is good. The first thing that really grabbed my attention, and will most likely grab yours on this track, is the very cracked, raspy, breathy singing throughout a majority of the song. I wouldn't say it's terrible singing. It's not super off pitch. It just sounds like how your vocals would be if you had just woken up and spent the previous night just drinking and smoking until you passed out. But still, there is a tired, dejected sort of attitude to the vocals that is pretty intoxicating, pretty easy to relate to instantaneously. And I feel like the instrumental really matches the sound of the vocals as well. While I think there's a lot of amazing detail in this production, there is something kind of loose and lazy about it as well, where it just really matches the singing superbly, like they're just made for each other, essentially. Now, instrumentally and aesthetically, what's going on here is, what we're hearing here is a combination of very dreamy and somewhat psychedelic synth pop, which, given its Gorillaz, Damon Albarn is no stranger to drumming up some trippy synthesizers and effects and patches in a song. But the left hook here is that we have a lot of reggae, dub reggae influences popping into the song as well, from the delays to the bass line to those classic snare hits, the pop-pop, as well as some of the very dissonant hits of guitar chords. There's a lot of reggae influences throughout this track. The groove, too. So, again, like so many deep and obvious nods to dub reggae throughout this track, which I like. I think the typical, at least typical for this Song Machine run, Gorillaz aesthetic and the synth pop aesthetics match really well with this style. It's done very faithfully. It seems true to form, but simultaneously, Damon Gorillaz take a lot of creative liberties with it to make it their own. But I will complain a little bit here and say that there isn't a huge vocal presence from 2D on this track, so it's not the most obvious that it is a Gorillaz song off the bat. Going back to the vocals, as we get further into the track, there are some passages that are a bit more auto-tuned. There is some moaning and humming in the background that comes off almost Kid Cudi-ish in a way too. And the lyrics, especially when they get into that moment where they're going on about fighting with that guy in the street, they can be pretty mean, but there are some somewhat existential bars here here and there too. It's kind of difficult to get at what exactly the point or the narrative of the song is specifically. It's a little esoteric. It's a little abstract. I would say that this one is more about the vibe and more about the emotional quality of it than it is whatever tale is being told between the bars. There is also a super blissful outro of plinky pianos and faintly swelling synthesizers that are quite nice too. Again, while it is a little messy and it is a little all over the place and it is a bit disheveled in terms of assembly, purposefully so, there is a solid structure to all of it. It's not like Damon is just kind of throwing whatever out there and letting it just ride until we get tired of it. There are a lot of very defined sections to this song that all play out very nicely. So if I had to boil this down to a handful of terms, I would say what we're listening to is a depressive, somewhat trippy dub reggae ballad, which sounds like a word salad, but that is actually what it is. And again, I think it's pretty good. I will give it to Gorillaz again on this one. I'm liking this track. Is it my favorite from the batch so far? Does it feel like a bit more of an interlude, transitional, moody type of moment in the series? Yes, but production is still top notch. And I mean, while I'm not the biggest fan or the most familiar with Octavian stuff, I did not expect him to perform in this way. You know, to put him into a weirdo reggae backdrop, I think was quite a left punch, and he did well in this context. I liked this one, loved this one. So yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are down in the comments, of course. And over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Gorillaz, Friday 13th, forever.